There is a quiet urgency behind this episode. And for many years, I've watched a steady shift in our world. A movement that hides beneath beautiful words like equality and individuality, yet often works to dissolve the moral and ethical foundations that sustain a free and dignified civilization. What the ancient Stoics and sages regarded as essential to healthy human development, discipline, humility, and reverence for truth, is being eroded and replaced by a culture of constant self-definition and reaction. The result is subtle but profound. People willingly surrender their sovereignty for comfort and their freedom for the illusion of safety and security. When morality becomes relative and virtue optional, confusion seeps into the nervous system of society itself. The evidence is everywhere, especially in our social media, in education, in the growing intolerance for genuine discourse. This reflection is not a call to argue or divide, but for you to remember. The task before us is to reclaim inner order, to rediscover the strength that arises from coherence, compassion, and presence. This is what I call physiological enheartenment, and the new Stoicism of the heart are ways of returning to that sacred balance. If civilization has lost its center, then each of us must become the still point again, a lamp of clarity in the noise, a reminder that morality and freedom are sustained not by ideology, but by the calm, disciplined heart. We live in an age of reaction. Every moment, 1,000 voices compete for the same heartbeat. Noise is mistaken for awareness, opinion for truth, stimulation for freedom. The more we chase these signals, the less we hear the quiet pulse of our own being. Under banners of progress and protection, the old foundations of virtue have thinned, and what the ancients called the art of living has now been replaced by a culture of perpetual response. When inner discipline fades, control rushes in to fill the vacuum. People surrender their self-trust for the comfort of belonging to a side, a tribe, or an ideology. But the Stoics, the ancient sages, and the mystics of every lineage warned us of this turning. They said, when the mind moves faster than the breath, the soul forgets its rhythm. When craving replaces contemplation, freedom becomes a performance. And when a people lose the ability to be still, the world itself begins to tremble. This trembling is what many of us are feeling now. And it is not a political crisis. It is a physiological one. A civilization whose collective nervous system has become overstimulated, where every headline, every screen, every argument sends another jolt through the body of humanity. We are a species that has forgotten how to rest. The Stoics called the cure ataraxia, tranquility of soul. The Buddha called it equanimity, and Lao Tzu called it returning to the Tao. Each pointed to the same truth. Stillness restores proportion, and from stillness, perception clears. From stillness, right action flows. This is the work of non-reactive intelligence. It is the physiology of presence made visible through breath and attention. To become enheartened is to remember that morality is not imposed from outside. It is the natural order of a regulated body. When the breath is steady, truth becomes simple again. And so the path forward is not to fight ideology with more ideology, but to cultivate coherence, one nervous system at a time. Each human who learns to breathe consciously, each heart that chooses calm over outrage, becomes a point of stability in the wider field. And this is how civilizations are healed. It doesn't happen through conquest of belief, but through mastery of reaction. So we return to the way of stillness. It isn't a withdrawal from the world, but a renewal of participation from a higher point of view. It is to be a lamp unto yourself, as the Buddha taught. It is to keep the flame tended so it can light the path for others. A quiet mind does not hide from life. It illuminates it. Let us close with a few breaths together. Let us take a slow inhale through the nose and feel the weight of the world's noise pressing outward, not inward. And as you exhale gently through the mouth, let the shoulders drop. And with that breath, you step out of the storm. Again, inhale, sensing the spine lengthen and the heart soften. Notice how clarity is not something you think. It is something you feel when the body is calm. Exhale, releasing the impulse to judge or fix anything. Stillness itself begins to do the healing. And now, a final breath, whispering inwardly, "May my stillness serve the whole." And know that every coherent act, a pause before speaking, a single kind word, the decision to breathe instead of react, travels through the human field like a butterfly's wing, stirring distant air. Even the smallest motion of peace can change the weather of the world. Civilization renews itself through such moments as these. The task is not to defeat the age of reaction. It is to embody presence so completely that reactivity has nowhere to live. When even one heart steadies, the world begins to remember virtue.